Today is February 15th, 2021. I'm Anthony Curtis from LasVegasAdvisor.com. Nevada's Governor Steve Sissolak announced his changes to the pause that affects Las Vegas commerce. The major changes, obviously, in the casinos, restaurants, and bars, the capacity level has been raised from 25% to 35%. Additionally, and of consequence, you don't have to make reservations anymore. So whereas you used to have to call to go in and eat, with maximum of 4 people to a table, you can now walk right in, supposedly. Some places will still require reservations. You should still call in and make sure that they've got space, but you can also walk in without being yelled at. And you can now sit with 6 to a table as opposed to 4. The other big change was in the capacity for showrooms and venues for entertainment. That's also been raised from 25% up to 35%, which was a maximum of 50 people, has now been raised to 100. Again, good for shows. That will help. We had some shows that were operating under the 50-person capacity. It'll be a lot easier for them now with 100 people allowed in. As of March 15th, capacity in casinos, restaurants, and bars is supposed to be raised to 50%. As of May 1st, capacity in smaller venues and showrooms is supposed to be raised also to 50%, but rise from 100 maximum to 250. That should make a big difference. Now, interestingly, in big venues, like a place like maybe T-Mobile, supposedly 20% is the capacity and that's where it stops. But T-Mobile has 20,000 seating potential. So that means that ostensibly 4,000 people ought to be able to attend these sorts of things. So maybe we're going to see some concerts come back, maybe small sporting events. We'll have to wait and see on that. Places that remain closed, what they call the so-called high-risk activities. That's the gentlemen's clubs, nightclubs, day clubs, brothels, for those of you who care. All of those still remain closed. Some of the gentlemen's clubs have operated as bars, and that's going to continue to be allowed, but you're not going to have the lap dancing and all the business that, makes Las Vegas famous. So overall, everybody's looking at this as pretty much as a positive development. The 35% seems a little bit arbitrary. It's kind of strange. Like, who's going to know the difference between 25% and 35%? All of a sudden, somebody's going to start counting and go, you should have had 43.2 people in here. It's kind of hard to say why they came up with this number. But again, it's sort of in the idea of caution. The governor's kind of covering his rear end, I think, on this one. The fact that it's moving in the right direction is helpful. Kind of confirming the confidence is the fact that the day after the governor made these announcements, Virgin Las Vegas finally announced when they're going to open, and it is March 25th. So they waited for capacity to move to 50%, and then they moved from there. So far, so good. Overall numbers are dropping, confidence is rising, and again, things are moving in the proper direction. In other news, a couple of things happened. First of all, the Drew was sold. For those of you who don't know what the Drew is, if you've been to Vegas in the last decade, you've seen the big, giant, blue hulking building on the north side of the Strip. Originally, it was called the Fontainebleau. It was supposed to open in 2009, and it never did. In the middle of the problems that we had then in the recession, it closed down. It was sold. It was sold again. It was, the dates were moved back, and it's been purchased again. So, renewed possibilities for that, although there's been no announcement as to whether the name will change and when the opening date will be. And then finally, numbers came in, visitor counts for 2020. Hold on to your hats for this one. 19 million. That's a drop of 55% from the 42.5 million in 2019, the lowest total in 31 years. So, it's been pretty tough out there. But hopefully things are changing. Again, with the lessening of the restrictions, the dropping of the COVID numbers, we're looking at getting back on track, hopefully here in a couple of months. Come see us at LasVegasAdvisor.com for additional updates. We'll see you next time.